Take a moment to center. Come into ready position, like when playing tennis, waiting to receive the serve. Tune in with your body. Organize your body in a symmetrical way, harmonious way. Your spine, your shoulders, your head, your hands and arms, symmetrical, grounded, rooted, stable, simple. Organize your breath. Smooth, grounded, alive. Organize your senses. Instead of going out, stay inside. Simply be quiet for a moment. Just one moment, be quiet. Drop all the goals and the stories and the successes and the failures. Be quiet in your body, your rhythm, your cells, your blood. Be quiet in your breath. Relax attention in your breath, in your heart. Be quiet in your senses, in your mind. Being quiet is not a big effort. Being quiet is an orientation, a kind of focus, presence. In this state of deep quiet, you're connected with the inner wisdom, inner power, inner beauty. And so we recommend to come back to this place, this essence, this source, the center of yourself each day, for a few minutes each day, to reconnect, to tune, to ground and root in that way of being, which cannot be understood. It's not that to know yourself is not like a definition or an obituary or something. Not to know yourself has nothing to do with the figuring out what you're supposed to do or what you look like, anything. To know yourself is to be yourself. And this being can only happen in the not knowing, not thinking, not obsessing about yourself. Like in the sports game, we're training the basic drills and exercises. Then in the game, you forget it. In that forgetting, you can respond spontaneously, naturally in each moment. So in the same way, to know oneself, what does it mean to know? What do we know? This body I call myself. This is myself. Do I know my body? Do I know this body? What do I know? What's going on right now in my hand? The blood, what is it doing? I have no idea at all what the blood, the composition of the blood, the flow, the cells, no idea. And I will never know. At best, I have some abstract information and I make some concept, but what's actually happening this moment in what I call myself, my body, myself, what's happening, I have no idea, and I will never know that. Infinite mystery. So, what does it mean to know? What do we know? What does the banana know? What does the squirrel know? There's an aliveness. There's a natural aliveness and intelligence expressing itself through all the different species, from the basic minerals and gases through all the complex species. There's an aliveness. That aliveness itself is intelligence. So it's not that humans are intelligent, but that life itself is intelligence, perfectly in tune. And so this process of yoga is not, we're not trying to outsmart life, to outthink our minds, right? But simply to come back to that natural state of presence and intelligence that's expressing itself in your cells, in your organs, in your blood, in your biology. And when we take time to cultivate a healthy ecosystem, then that intelligence also expressing through your heart, through your words, through your thoughts, through your mind, through your senses also. So that's why we're not trying to learn anything. It's not about learning or figuring out, but about coming into that deep state of presence so that that wisdom can flow through you. The creativity flows through, the love flows through. You're not producing it. It's all around, in everything, everywhere, every moment. The love is expressing itself in the rain, in the fire, in the electricity, in the solid matter, in the air, in this light, in everything is expression of that. So that's why we're activating, tuning, calibrating your system, your biochemistry, especially the spine and nervous system, the brain, the breath. This is tuning. And we recommend to dedicate 2%. 2% of your time and energy to invest in yourself, to nourish your own garden, to clean your body, heart, and mind. 2% of 24 hours is 30 minutes. 1% is essentially 15 minutes. So in 30 minutes, you can do 5 or 6 postures. 10, 12 minutes of the postures, movement, another 7, 8 minutes of breathing, and then 10 minutes of stillness or meditation. That would be 30 minutes. And the idea is that you set up a fixed process, and you do it again and again and again, the same thing, in the same order, at the same time. At least, we say 40-day challenge. Do 40 days or 100-day challenge. Right? Set up a simple process that you can go through again and again. Again, it's not about perfecting the choreography. So it's beautiful. Dance is essential. No, this is wonderful. But the yoga is not about performing the posture correctly, but about anchoring yourself more and more deeply at the center of your being. No, calibrating, tuning your nervous system, your breath, your flow, your inner rhythm, so that you are more and more deeply at home within yourself. And it takes time to set up a garden. When you start the garden, at first it takes more time and effort, but once the garden's going, then the garden's growing by itself. The garden gives an abundance. And so the focus is on learning to be at home in yourself, in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Then we can be authentic. And so the daily practice It's like brushing your teeth also, like brushing your teeth, taking a shower. Don't make a big deal about it. But taking the time each day, you do as an experiment, like 40 days, and you see the point is not about the practice, it's how you feel in your daily life when you're not practicing. And after those days, you can see you feel more alive, more creative, you're kinder to yourself, listening more to yourself. Right? These are signs that the practice is working. It's not because the meditation or the yoga looks great or something feels great. It might not. It'll change every day, every moment. Even you're holding the posture, everything changes 1,000 times in that 1 minute. So many emotions, so many thoughts. Who am I? Every minute we have so many different thoughts. So the key is you just insert that program into your daily life, and then the rest will shift in function of that tuning. 2% is it for the householders, people that are in a married life, raising a family, focused on their career and job. But there's some people who want to dedicate their lives to the path, or who want to become a yoga teacher or something like this. And so that should be minimum like 20%, 4 or 5 hours a day. Easily you can do 2 hours first thing in the morning, 1 hour midday, another 2 hours in the evening. Like any person, like any sport or art, it requires real dedication and experience in order to be able to guide someone into that state, or to be able to anchor that in your daily life. But easily 2%, I used to say 4% when we started 12 years ago. That's 1 hour, but it's too much. 2%, 30 minutes, even 20 minutes. You can see, if you take just a few minutes to awaken your body, your blood, your breath, to tune your nervous system, to center yourself, to challenge yourself and overcome the challenge, to remember the importance of being stable and relaxed. Right? All these things you do every day, you live that every day, right? Then it becomes your lived experience. And so most important part of the practice is daily practice, regular practice. If you have extra time, you can always do more and play around and do what you feel like. It's good. But to train the foundation, to have a foundation, and you don't need a yoga teacher for that. You can easily do it yourself. Every now and then do a private class, something, get more feedback, go for a class, meet with a community of people, that's wonderful. But the core is a relationship with oneself, with your breath, with your aliveness, with your heart. Right? And so this is very intimate. And so we should create that sacred space in our home, somewhere we can access that anytime, anywhere. We're keeping that energy, that love, that in one place. We have our mat, some small altar, we can put a candle or something, some nice picture of flowers. And then you're cultivating that rhythm, that relationship as part of your daily rhythm, as part of your daily space. You have to anchor that in space and time. So also fixed time. Best time is first thing in the morning when you wake, before talking, before eating, before this and that. Tune your instrument. Fill yourself with love. Release everything that's holding you back. Then it becomes part of the rhythm. The practice will do itself. After you do it 15 times, 20 times, 30 times, then even you're feeling tired or sick, you drag yourself and you start, and within 2-3 minutes, you're feeling at least 75-80% more alive and connected. And so this is the prescription. Right? This is different from the yoga studio yoga. Right? It's not about the performance of the postures or challenge like this. It's about really coming more deeply into this rhythm, this presence within yourself. Then you feel at home. Then you can be both stable and relaxed in your body, in your breath, in your heart and mind. When you're in tune, you feel very light. When you're centered, you feel lightness. When you're out of center, it feels very heavy. And so this is the basic premise for this approach. Of course, many other things nourishment is necessary. You grow a garden, there's certain nutrients, minerals, NPK. Right? There's certain nutrients that they need, but really there's so much else that we need as well. So movement, breath, and stillness is part of this alchemy to awaken the flow, but also spending time in nature. This is essential medicine. To walk in the forest, to be with the trees, to garden, to go by the ocean or the river, the waterfall. This is deep nourishment for our bodies, hearts, and minds. That the smell, the sounds, the colors, the shapes. Nowadays we're bombarded with all these flashing lights all the time. So much tension in our eyes and our mind. So the connection with the nature, sunbathing, forest bathing, that our skin is exposed to the air and can breathe. This is also essential medicine. Oil bathing, all these things. So nature also creativity, creative expression. And that can come in so many ways. From the way we dress, to making food, to painting and drawing, writing, and infinite ways that we can express ourselves, that we can release. And so this is also an essential part of the yoga, of this diet. Yeah, many parts. This community also, connection, sharing, listening, togetherness is so important. So we consider this essential part of the diet. Not just to eating a food, nice food or clean food or something, but this nature, this connection, this aliveness, creativity is also essential part of the diet. And without this, we won't really feel fulfilled, content. And so, for sure, we can work these. We can schedule in some time now and then to whatever makes us feel alive. We have to examine our lives and remember what it is, and we can include these like a seasoning, like spices, every now and then. Playing sports also. This is incredible. It's a kind of improvisation, right? Improvisation, like dancing, because you don't know what will happen, so you're thrust into the moment. So all of these experiments, all of these games are deeply nourishing for our hearts, our minds, our souls. This playfulness and the spirit of playfulness and exploration and adventure as well. Very often, we as we grow older, we start to get stuck in a certain pattern or way of thinking, and we lose that silliness, that playfulness, that lightheartedness. And so this also is a key. And so in the path of yoga, it's not just to twist your body on the piece of plastic, right? Yoga is really about how to regulate, how to be deeply alive in a state of connection within yourself, like your body is connected, all these layers, so many different things going on. And this is connected. Your heart, also so many layers, so many dimensions, mind. So and then all three of these are deeply connected. And then as an individual, we're also in connection with our environment, not just human beings, but with all of the environment. And so this is a kind of tuning. And it's not a mental game, not a mind game, but it's more at the level of sensation, vibration. This is what I'm trying to point, that we have thinking. Okay, thinking is good. Thinking is a certain capacity, like your car. You have the lights, you have the high beams, and then you have the kind of the broad, this other one. So thinking is one function, but not the only one. Right? There's another function, which is deeper level, and it's awareness. Right? And so we have to learn to shift from thinking to awareness, which is a kind of listening, an openness, a receptivity, an expansiveness. Thinking is a contraction. And this is a different state, like a synthesis, a kind of a deeper wholeness or gnosis. In the Greek, they were called the Gnostics, the gnosis. Different kind of knowing. A deeper knowing, a knowing through not knowing. And so, if we can train ourselves to rest in that state of awareness, at least a little bit every day, just 1 second, or a few seconds, then that will revolutionize our thinking, the whole way that we exert energy and effort in the daily life. Because that so this is why I'm trying to point out that state of awareness. And again, since awareness means no words, so the expression comes as a kind of tension or contraction and vibration or pressure. So at this level, this is why it's so important during the practice, during the postures, in between you're observing the pressure, the tension, vibration in your body, where in your body, in your breathing, because this is where all the emotions and thoughts and trauma is stored and circulated through your prana. And so by relaxing that tension in your breath and in the field around you, like the same way you comb your hair, it becomes smooth, then your breath and this pranic field becomes very soft, very smooth, very light, very luminous. And then mind is functioning naturally. But if the mind is left always in control, it never stops. It's never enough. When has it ever been enough? Nothing is. One thing to the next, always the next, and more, and not enough. And we get it, and then we don't want it. Something else, and it never stops. If the mind is at the center, the mind is in control, there'll never be peace. The word peace has nothing to do with peace. Even thinking about peace is not peace. The only peace is when you forget all the words, you become present. That presence is peace. But any ideal or idea or concept is not that. And so the mind will never stop. It's never enough. It's a hungry ghost. It will eat and eat and eat. It can eat all day, and it's never enough. And so we have to see, either we want to hold out and nobody else has made it, it's never been enough, but we're going to make it, I'm going to make it. Or we look for another way. And so what we're saying is that not through thinking, thinking is necessary, thinking is useful, and the thinking itself will become much more powerful and focused and efficient when it's not all the time. Instead, we replace the thinking with awareness. Awareness is not stupid. Awareness is not like you hide in the sand and avoid everything that's going on. Awareness is like when playing sports or when playing jazz, deeply listening and present and sensitive in the flow, connected. So we can train this state of awareness. This is the point where I usually open a box and I take all the questions that people wrote on the paper. But I said this week, after 10 years, I want to see some people ask us some questions out loud. I do have the box here in case anybody wants to put a question on the paper. But I really want to know are you able to tap into that space beyond the thoughts and mind? What's not clear? Is something not clear? Awareness, thinking, present moment, the breath, tension in the breath, sensation, right? And are you able to tap into that or glimpse that? Does it make sense? What doesn't make sense?
I had a question around boredom.
Yeah.
So this empty space, there is this space where I suddenly start feeling like I'm just bored. And what's that feeling, and how do you come that?
Yeah, boredom it's good. This is one of the stages. It's a kind of dying process, right? And so we have this like sleepiness, then dreaminess, then restlessness, then boredom. These are the 4 major phases we go through. At first, usually sleepy. People will say, "Oh, I keep sleeping." What's the problem? No, the problem is we're exhausted. The problem is because of our way of life, we're so exhausted that that naturally we close the eyes and it's sleepy. And at first, generally, we associate eyes closed with sleep. So it's normal for the first month or 2 months, you get sleepy, you're drifting off, not a problem. It doesn't matter. The process is still going on even in sleep. Second is dreaminess. This is another thing connected with sleepiness. Then we have a restlessness. This is why we're doing the postures and the breathing before meditation. This is why we're exerting, we're activating all these nadis and channels before we go into the subtle state. Otherwise the body, and so that's the thing, you have to do it every day for some time, for a month, 2 months. Like when you play a new sport, your body gets tired, you're not used to using those muscles. But after you play for a couple months, you no longer feel that at all, it goes away. Last one is a boredom. This is the big one. So the boredom is a kind of, it's the same, it's like we're attached to a certain rhythm of stimulation all the time. Like now the kids, you see this dopamine and this everything moving so quickly, and they don't get that, and there's a kind of a restlessness or boredom, something. And it has to do with the pattern in our nervous system. And so in meditation, in this process of the ego letting go, right, then there's these different thresholds, and the last one is the boredom. Because the willpower is, we're very strongly attached to this, I want to do, I want to eat. It's this I that wants to get its way immediately. And until that lets go, then we're just kind of on the edge. And so that's why many of the teachers are always recommending longer meditation, 45, 60 minutes. Because if we know only a little bit of time, we can hold on. You have to get to the point where you just give up. Right? As long as you're trying, then there's something's holding on. The meditation can only begin when you give up. And so the boredom is a teacher too. Boredom is a teacher. Whatever is arising, right, it might be pain, uncomfortableness. Usually there's a good dose of uncomfortableness coming along with whatever else we get. And so the key is, again, not just to feel it in the body. Can you sense it? Is there an edge? Is there a border? Is there a place in your body? Is it moving? Is it still? What is it? Try to get into the level of sensation, and then use your breath to slow down your whole rhythm, to fill that space with the light, and then forget it. Bring your attention back to one pointed focus. Like this, all these waves keep coming. So this is not that something's going wrong. This is the practice. That's the practice itself. This is the process of purging, of releasing all this stuff that's trapped in our nervous system and the ego and the mind and everything. The boredom is the path. So the key is also, you want to break through with that level, you have to have fixed practice every day, fixed time, same length. So you're doing 30 minutes meditation at 6 in the morning, then every day 6 in the morning, 100%. You put the timer 30 minutes every day. Best if you do it morning and evening. The practice is like taking a shower. In the morning you wake up, you take a shower, you feel awake, alive. In the evening, after a long day, you take a shower, you feel relaxed. So in the morning, you do a practice, you feel this aliveness. After a long day, again, you can do a short practice in the evening time, even just 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, you do sun salutation 1 time, 1 breathing exercise, and 5 minutes stillness. Even with that little bit of alchemy will help tremendously to integrate your daily experience and to remember your essence. And then the next morning you have a practice, and evening, and like that. So the regularity is the key to break through anything serious. If we're just on the surface a little bit cleaning like that and whatever, every now and then we do something, is fine. Okay, it'll feel good, it'll be good. But we really want to work with this our habits and our way of seeing and like this, then it has to be fixed practice, regular practice, for extended period of time, a couple months or years. But we don't have to wait for years to experience the benefit. When you do the practice, immediately you feel the benefit. Immediately. It's not like, oh, in a couple years it's going to get better, maybe something. No. Immediately you do, you feel lighter, you feel alive, you feel your sleep rhythm, your digestion, the way you speak to others. Immediately, it's immediate. And being bored is important. So it's great. We spend a few minutes being uncomfortable. In those few minutes of uncomfortableness, then something's released. Then the other 23 hours a day, we feel good, we feel loose. Right? During the practice, we're condensing that pressure, and in a short period of time, we're releasing a lot of pressure. And so whether it feels good or bad, it might feel blissful, it might feel like this or that, it doesn't matter, because that's not the point. The point is to get it out. And then the other 23 hours, you feel connected. You feel in tune. This is the focus we have. It doesn't matter. Let the practice be as it needs to. When you start to work out after a long time, then you feel the burning. You're working out, you feel burning. The acid and the pain and the tearing of the muscles, and it feels uncomfortable. But then after some time, you feel that same burn, and you feel like a power, force. So the same, we're tearing our ego. We're not used to it, very sensitive. We're used to give our ego whatever it wants, whenever it wants. And so at first there's a little bit of uncomfortableness, but we should embrace that uncomfortableness instead of running away. When you can be at peace in front of that uncomfortableness, then this is the advanced yoga. No, it's the focus is on training the willpower. And so boredom, welcome it. Whatever comes, welcome it. Boredom comes, welcome it. It's unique. It will go. Then pain comes, okay, welcome it also. This mind, memory comes, okay. But in order to really break through, it requires regular practice. Same with playing a sport or learning a foreign language or learning some art, musical instrument or something like that. Unless you have a regular daily foundational practice too, not just pick it up and do what you feel like. You can't do it. You can't just learn a language, just like speak whatever words you feel like when you feel like it. It doesn't work. There's a foundation. You train the foundation, the scales. You play the bowing, the scales. You play again and again. Then you can be free. But until that, then you're trapped. And so we don't have the foundational training of being human. We're improperly using the breath and nervous system, the mind, the senses, everything. And it's causing suffering and uneasiness. And so that's why we just go back to the basics, focus, simple training. That's why we don't even need to call it yoga. It's too fancy. Yoga, meditation, everything is too big. Other questions? Is it clear the distinction between thinking and awareness? You know, thinking as an activity. Thinking, it's like with thoughts, focusing and analyzing, describing, engaging with the world through thinking. And then engaging through this awareness. Is that clear?
I had a question about seeing.
Yes.
So when you close your eyes, it's still a bit like I'm seeing on the back of my mind. So what's the relationship between seeing and
Seeing like colors are just like a shadow of light.
it could be colors, it could be change, it could be pulsating.
Yes. So we have what's called the gross senses, which means the outside senses, like the seeing through the lens of the eye and the refraction of the, and outside hearing. So what's called the outer senses and inner senses we have also, the subtle senses. And so when we're being flooded with stimulation through the outer senses, right, then it's very difficult to be in touch with these more subtle senses. There are, however, the yogis, since the beginning, one of the main sciences of yoga is pratyahara, is investigating the senses, because everything we experience through the five senses, plus sixth sense of mind, and we take for granted. But all that, different species, different senses, different experience. Right? And so they're doing things like darkness retreats, where you go and spend, 5 to 10, 20, 30 days in complete darkness. Not a pinprick of light coming in. Right? And in that process, you understand that a lot of our thoughts, a lot of the words, a lot of sounds are produced inside our own mind also. Right? And so awareness is all of life is a state of awareness. The cells, the molecule. It's not like unique to human beings. Even thinking, mind is in the plants. No, the seed, the whole organization of life in the seed. It has the body, heart, and mind. Body is the matter. The heart is the vital force, the growth, the energy. There's energy, and that energy also is an intelligence. And then the mind. The plant knows exactly the leaf shape and structure, when and where, how to grow everything. So body, heart, mind is in all of life. Awareness is in all of life. And so we have different senses in the outside and inside senses. And so when we have visions during meditation, these can be, it's not bad, it's useful. Because one, it's showing that we're going into deeper state. Two, if we focus on that, it can pull us more deeper inside also. So you have to experiment and see, right, how it's working. But some people see a color, or see a dot of light, or like this. So you can go into that, and if that pulls you more inward, then that's very useful. But important not to get attached, like waiting for it, or is it coming, not coming, like that. But light is experimenting with light. And also I just brought back from the United States. I've been working with this for over 15 years. There's a visionary artist, Alex Gray, who painted these. I mean, he's incredible. He's been doing incredible work for the last couple decades. And in the 80s, he developed an eye patch called the Mindfold, which blocks out 100% of light. Right, so it's basically like an eye fold. What do you call that? A face mask? Face mask. But it's with this high density foam, and it has a space so you can open your eyes, and even in the broad daylight, you don't see a pinprick of light. And what I found in experimenting with that and darkness rooms is that at least 50% of our thoughts are not our thoughts. It's just this passive information that can continually bombarding. When you take away the visual input for a few hours, but not sleeping, right? Your mind, the static of all these thoughts, it just comes at least 50%, if not 70, 80%. And so if you do even more time, like a day, 2 days, 3 days, they're saying it takes 3 days for your serotonin and melatonin to replenish. Because of artificial lighting, our whole brain chemistry is completely off and out of balance. Right? Also, we have all this built up from continually seeing and thinking, and every time we see, it's liking and disliking. Everything we see, we have like and dislike. Everything we hear, every moment. So all these likes and dislikes, like that, building up, then we have to release that. And so during the dreams, right, during different ways, then we're releasing that tension. And so through the darkness, through meditation, through relaxing the system, then that stuff will also be released. So it can be coming up, it can be the release of energy trapped in the body. It can also be, as we're traveling to more subtle planes, we have different visions, or we see different lights, this kind of thing. And it can be used as a tool to anchor yourself, right? They're saying in meditation, you need an anchor. It's like floating in the ocean, you need something, otherwise you drift away. And so my tradition, the teacher, is this third eye point, one pointed focus at the one point, like a candle flame. You keep your attention at the tip of the flame. The main point is the third eye, also the heart center. Some traditions, the top of the head. Key is you pick one place and stick with it. In tradition like Theravada Buddhism, they have 40 objects of meditation, 40 different anchors that the student will be led through by the master. Right? So another one is the breath. In some tradition, like in Vipassana with the Anapanasati, they're doing the meditation on the breath, but not on the feeling of the breath. Means the feeling of your belly expanding and contracting, or the feeling of the breath on the tip of your nose as the air comes in and out. It's not like abstract, like thinking about the breath. Again, it's the sensation of your belly expanding and contracting, or the sensation on the tip of your nose. Depends who can feel different sensitivity. Right? Another practice is holding your attention on a mental object, like visualizing some object, building that image in your mind very precisely, and then maintain that image in your mind. Another one is repeating the sound or hearing the sound. So many, many different objects, but the key is you pick one object and stick with it. Otherwise, you're just jumping from this to this to this to that. It's very difficult to make any progress. Also, it's important to take notes on your experiences during the meditation, like a scientist. You take notes. These colors is coming like this, some other thoughts coming, because there's so many treasures. There's so many hidden treasures inside. There's so many secrets. There's so many keys. We have so much. We already know everything, no? And so, be ready. Take notes. Follow the threads. We get these threads or this spontaneous inspiration at any time. It can come any time of day, anywhere, any place. Moment of beauty, moment of gratitude, moment of love, moment of realization. Then it's like popcorn. Once it starts, it's exponential. So keep a journal, take notes, plant the seeds. You take a note, it's like planting seed in the garden. You don't know which seeds are going to grow in, but plant lots of seeds and water them every day. Then you work with whatever's growing. But for sure, all these things are significant. Everything is important. We don't need to overthink is how to love myself. I don't know, what should I do? No, you just do a daily practice and take notes. Pay attention to yourself. Be with yourself. You take this little bit of time, 30 minutes a day, for myself, to be with myself. I don't know what to do. You just breathe. That breathing is love. The bending is love. The relaxing is love. The sitting is love. And then it becomes a rhythm. It becomes a flow. Then you fill yourself with the love in a very practical way, not a philosophical way. And then this will flow into the daily life. But instead, if practice is being hard on yourself, oh, I have to do it, I can't touch this, I can't do that, oh, look, I came out of this, I could do that wrong, oh, I'm going to get into this spot. It's the opposite. It's not yoga. Even if it looks like yoga, it has nothing to do with it. To be hard on yourself. To try to get into something else in the future that you can't do now, whatever. That's nonsense. That's the regular life bullshit. That's the same bullshit that we do in our daily life. So, the being at home in yourself is the beginning and the end. It's not that, all this time, if I go far enough, I finally find it. You are it. But it can't be known. It can't be understood. So that's why you have to just be quiet. Slow down. What you're looking for is here. Where else could it be? Wherever you will be is here. So if it's over there, then it's impossible. So this is why we say start with here. Our whole life we've been focused on over there. We're doing so much, trying so hard. But no one has arrived. No one. questions?
How does it change over time? You've been doing this for 30 years. How do you sense it's different, or is it not? Is it a very consistent experience? Is there this path to enlightenment? I'm not sure if that's a very meaningful question.
It's like when you start to play a sport like baseball, the first day you pick up the bat, you're like, oh, what do you do? Where do you go? And you play it every day for a couple years. It's just, you're just in the groove, you're in the flow, it's enjoyable. It's like life is such a problem. Every day is such a struggle, right? But then when you're in shape, you want to go, someone invites you to go play ultimate frisbee or something, and you're really out of shape. And you go and you show up and you're running around, and within a few minutes you're like on the ground, gasping for breath, and it's really miserable. But the other people playing the same game, and they're having the time of their lives. And so what's the difference? Right? It's this being in shape or being out of shape. And so we're out of shape, we're out of touch. We're out of shape physically, emotionally, mentally. You know what I mean? We're disconnected, we're out of shape. And so every day is such a torture. Right? But if we were in shape, then instead it would be a celebration, a joy, to play the sport, to play the game. It's wonderful to have to be able to play when you're in shape, when you have the training. Also necessary training. This is another thing. Right? If you're forced to play, you're in shape, but you're forced to play a sport that you have no idea how to play anything. So very difficult. So that's why it takes an initial investment to learn the foundation, but the way that we're living is so, it is however it is, that to continue like that would seem like more of a scarier thing, right? To continue doing the same thing. So it's, but there's definitely, it's not like a straight path. I think in practicing music, or practicing sports, or practicing like this, we have a kind of a clear path, and it's like you progress in a clear way. But this process is more like, first you have to tear it down before it can build up again. And because of our attachment, and we've spent many years or decades or whatever investing in certain things that now are we see aren't useful, because of this, it's very difficult. It can be difficult to let go. It can be difficult to change and die to the past these things. And so then there can be different periods of resistance, of fighting, of dark night, this kind of thing. So it's really a question of being prepared to die to the past, to be born again. And that's why through the practice, each day, through the practice, each posture is a kind of death. Right? We hold it, we feel it uncomfortable, and then we move through it, and we training our nervous system to maintain its stable focus in an uncomfortable situation. And then but I feel like once someone tastes that possibility of freedom or of aliveness, whatever you call light, people have different experience, different language, different culture, different tradition. But once you taste that, once you taste a mango, you'll never forget the taste of mango. Once you go, swim in the ocean, or make love for the first time, right? You never forget that. And so once you taste that deep presence, aliveness within yourself, then that leaves an impression. And that, to the degree to which you give importance to that, and we can call that even just your health. Our health is not just, I'm working on this recently with another great yogi, and the idea is that we don't have a concept of health. All we have is a system of illness. We have a concept of illness. Our approach to health is not ill, not sick. And mental health is just a euphemism for mental illness. We don't have a model of health, what it means to be alive and healthy. We can see in the plants. When the plant is healthy, we can see. But we need to understand that this is not this is a health. This is the wealth also. The health is not separate from wealth. Wealth is not just the money, but is our relationships and creativity and all the wealth is a much bigger. And so if we give importance to nurturing that, then whatever we do, we have success. If you spend every day studying French, then after some weeks, months, years, you can speak French. If you spend every day, studying the stock market and trading, then after some time you figure out you can do it. We can do it. You can hit the ball again and again. You hit it, hundreds of yards away into the hole. Great. So if you give importance and value to tuning your biology and awakening your breath and cleaning your mind and your heart, and you do it, then it like opens up a whole nother way of life. A few more minutes, yeah. Any more questions?
I have a question. How do you handle a painful thought that keeps recurring during meditation?
Yeah, so first thing is you have to establish a good foundation. Because life, whatever painful thought is coming, more will come. Life is going to give you bullshit in the future for sure. So whatever the case is now, we must establish a daily practice in order that we have a strong foundation. That we can be really, for the posture 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, be uncomfortable, but be totally focused, centered, breathing like that. So that's essential for anything anyway. We have to establish that foundation. Then some specific thoughts coming, then it's like the thought is not the problem. The thought is a messenger. Right? There's something we have to do with that thought. There's something we have to do. So journaling about it, speak with someone about it, investigate where it's coming, why it's coming. If it's the same one, then there's a reason. And so it's something we're not listening to. There's something it's something we have to deal with, something that's not resolved, unresolved. And so it's disturbing us. So the thought is not the problem. The thought is, we have to, yeah. But so then you write it down. After the meditation, you write it down, do some journaling or talking around that. And then again, you see. But without a stable foundation, it's impossible. And then more will come, for sure. More problems are coming. So anyway, we might as well be prepared. Other question? Most important thing is just practice every day. You don't need to know anything. Better that you don't know anything. People who know too much, it's a big problem. Then they can't practice. And there's too much thinking, too much knowing like this. Be very simple. Be very simple and just do it. Because what's knowing is your cells and the molecules. What's knowing is the meridians and the nadis, and this is knowing. What are we directing? What are you directing right now? Your heartbeat, your circulation, nothing. No. So all we need to do is provide the right conditions for life to do its thing. It's because of too much control, contraction, the ego, desire, expectation, all this that we're imposing on, that life can't flow naturally. So all we need to do is to relax, to center. We're all the time flopping, flipping all over the place constantly. So to re-center the axis, the spine, and it's difficult as a human, right? The animals, they have a very stable relationship with the gravity and space and time. This is very balanced. The organs are relaxed. The breath is relaxed. Right? This is the tail and the tail. This whole thing. But now to get vertical, the human being without the roots like the tree, this against the pressure of gravity and thought and this is a real challenge. And so we have to accept that, and we need to do what's necessary so that it doesn't, so that we can be healthy. And that means massage, inversion, if possible, inversion table or hanging, right? Daily practice of yoga, breathing or meditate. Really, it's not yoga. You can be Tai Chi, it can be Qigong, it can be anything, but some fixed sequence that you're not. And again, the point is not to master the practice, but to use the practice to master yourself. I'm not trying to master downward dog. I'm not trying to master the shoulder stand. Through the shoulder stand, I'm mastering my own system. My breath, my blood, my willpower, my focus. This is very important distinction. I hope we can see. Everyone who wants to do the practice correctly, all the attention is to do it right. Do the practice right. It's not about the practice. This is wrong. The yoga, it is about yourself. The practice is just a tool to bring you into deeper connection with yourself, to unblock the channels within yourself so that the life can flow naturally and smoothly. And so we don't need to understand anything. Just simple practice. Do it again and again and again. Do it 40 times. Do 100 times. Do 300 times. And I guarantee the same way that you brush your teeth, your mouth feels nice. You take a shower, your body feels nice. You wash your clothes, you wash your sheets, and it feels good. You feel comfortable, you feel at home. In the same way, you can feel at home in your body, heart, and mind every day. From the moment that you wake up, you have to make it a nice place. If you never clean your room, you never make the bed, you never clean the dishes, you never wash the clothes, everything's just scattered, all trash everywhere. Everything on top of itself. How do you feel at home? How do you feel at peace? Now what about your mind? You organize your mind? You cleaning your mind? You washing your mind? What about your heart? So this is the yoga. This that's been handed down for thousands of years as a map to bring us back home into the present moment. So we'll close with a minute of silence, come back to center, drop all the words. All the words are false. What's true is what's behind the words. There's like a blank page, like a space. So go through the words, in between the words to the space. And be quiet. Breathe slowly. Be quiet for no reason. Be peaceful for no reason. Be happy for no reason.